Well, I've learned a few things as I've been going along, and it seems to be helping. Of course, we won't really know until it's all dry. But when I am cutting off the edge, I'm doing it a little bit of an angle where I have a little left over to drag across onto the bottom. So I'm basically making my own slip. You can see how I did it here. It's just a little bit. This is a little bit more. But I wanted to show you how I was getting this prepared. Now, this is my last piece, and I've got a pretty straight edge. And basically, you know, when you start, it widens out. Fold it over on itself, and then fold it over on itself, and you will start getting it to be longer than wider. So that was a huge help. And now I want to match this bottom piece. So I'm setting the one side so it is level, you know, so I can see how wide I need it. And then I am just going to eyeball. Hopefully my eyeball is working pretty well. Although it's clay, you can just squish it up and redo it again. So this is my leftover bit. Okay, so then when I go to do this next piece, I'm going to take and I'm going to put water on that slip. I'm also going to put water on the edge. And I have clay in my brush as well from having, you know, been doing this most of this time. So there we go. Then we're going to put the board down. Just like that. And I had thought about wrapping it, but I like the idea of seeing the wood. And I am kind of bringing this down just a little bit. I got a little bit too much there. So, but I do like to bring this down just a little bit. You can also do it with the water. Just to kind of make sure that it's got as many edges and whatnot to stick to. Now let's cut this off. Again, I told you I was doing it at a slight angle. So instead of cutting right up next to the board and pushing up, I'm coming at a slight angle. So I'm going about an 1/8 of an inch away from the actual box, and then cutting back into slanted to the edge. Okay, so it leaves just a little extra there so that I can bring it around. It's sticking to my fingers now more than doing anything, but and then this is the last piece, and then we're just going to have to let this dry, and I'm probably going to have to go start dinner. You know, that little meal that we have to eat every night. Come to think of it, I don't know that I've eaten anything yet. I've been having so many problems with my eating that I'm not eating, because when I eat something, I get sick, and it's getting old. I am working with a nutritionist. I am going to get rechecked on see if I have developed an allergy to something else. It seems to be changing. And it's been 3 years since I've been tested, so they said it's time. So I get to go and get those 92 shots or whatever it is on my back yet again. So I'm just see how I've just kind of pulled some of that down over the edge, still leaving the log or the board. Now here, once I have this board here and I'm meeting up, I don't leave, I just cut straight across. And I do like to rough up the look a little bit on some of them. Some of them I've left kind of neat, you know, so they kind of look like they're still in fairly good shape. Now we are going to have to let this dry, and then I'm going to paint it. But we do have the lid still to do. But the lid is going to take, see, the lid has to actually be now as wide as the box. That's why I didn't cut the lid yet. This can all go in. All your little bits and pieces that you have laying around and that you're pulling off your knife, just stick it in your water. And that way you're starting to make slip without, you know, without having to do a whole lot of work. And you just, it will, there we go. Help get that off of my little knife here. So once you get it wet, it does soften up again. Okay. I can even put these little pieces in. There we go. All right, so now, and remember, if it starts drying up and doing a lot of cracking and stuff, just add water. Add a little bit. You don't have to add a lot. You'll end up with slip. That's what you'll end up with. Okay, so I want this to go from one side of my box to the other. So now I have a place to cut this. I'm bringing in my cutter again. Woo! So we're going to cut this right about here. Okay. Now I'm going to need some, I don't know, that I might have to double this up. I don't think, oh, this might work. This might work nicely. This is just some packaging from a new shower curtain. But it was, it's, I think it'll be nice. So let me cut a piece. Let's see. Let's cut this part off. What the heck? Okay. There we go. One silver lining across all that, however, is that I am not, let's see, I'm going to want, hold on just a second, guys. I'm going to want a 1/2 inch on this side and this side, and this is about 3/4 of an inch. Oh, it's almost an inch. So from here, I'm going to add a 1/2 inch. So that is right there. All right. Let's see if what's in my head is actually going to work. I certainly hope so. I don't throw much away that I think I can use. And it's starting to get in a little bit more into miniatures, so yeah. All right, so now I'm wanting to start rolling this. I'm still a little wet here. just a dry, yeah, I'm wanting to start rolling this, but I didn't want to dent it. I wanted it to just be nice roll. Okay, so I think that's good. So let's do a score line right in that area, because that'll give me some nice roundness. All right, scoreboard. Let's hope this one will go through it well. Okay. So there's that one. Just try and line it up best you can. It's not an exact science on this. Just as long as it's going to be thick enough to be able to hold its shape with the clay on it, and that it's soft enough that it's going to hold a nice roundness to it. So I think I'm going to build up, let's see, I think I'm going to build up the center a little bit, because I don't want to lose that. I want to support it. Is this long enough? No, a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm just going to go right across the center here. There we go. And let me see. Oh, let me leave this on and let me see if I want to do one more or if this is good. So I'm going to fold this in and fold this in. I can do one more. Ooh, that's wonderful. So let's pull this one off. And let's do one more. What's the length I want? There we go. Let's just add this back on there. And let's put some tape on this so it will grab instantly. Hold on, guys, just a second.
I'm getting ready to put the...
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. We are finishing up the chest. Okay, now I went ahead and did the front side over the board. I just pushed it in. I put some slip down and slip is the clay and water melt to get mixed together, and you get this thicker substance, and it acts like glue as it dries. So I did this side and I textured it all up, trying to make it look really grungy, not like just pretty wood, because it's been sitting in the ocean. And then I've got the two here, and I came on to show you how I'm doing the ends here and the top. I also wanted to show you, there's my wheel, And I didn't try and make it look perfect. I wanted it to look like there was hunks falling off and broken and stuff like that. And I figured, you know, if anything else breaks off, it's pretty sturdy. And then my anchor. And I really like the way the anchor turned out as well. The 3 colors that I used was black, nutmeg brown, and espresso. So a medium brown, a dark brown, and a black. And this obviously is, I started with the medium brown, thought I really wanted it to be a little darker. So then I went back, and some of it I painted with the mixture of the two, and then some of it so it's just kind of, and it has dried. So I've got the different colors in it, and that's okay with me. This one, I did the nutmeg brown and the black. And I kept kind of some separate from each other and then some mixed so that I could come back in and give it some lighter spots and darker spots. So I was very pleased with that. Oh, and I made, if you can see right there, I made a little keyhole for the trunk. It's drying, so, or I'd pick it up and so you could see the little keyhole. And all I did was I took my little pokey tool, little sideways pokey tool. This is a Cricut one. And I poked a hole and then just made little circles to get the top where I wanted it. If it got too tall around there, I took my palette knife and just kind of tapped it down. And then I started doing the hole again. And then I came down and up and down and up to get the bottom part of the keyhole. If it raised up, I flattened it. Then I'd go back to working it. And then I just kept keeping it. I like the dome on the top, and how I did that was I did a well, I'm not taking the time to really, but I fashioned like a bean almost. It's almost like a kidney bean or something. And then I cut off the bottom to make it flat. And of course it was much thinner and I rolled it out and stuff, but I cut the bottom off to make it flat, and then I just made sure that I didn't lose the dome on the top. So that was that. I need to make, let me go ahead and gather all my stuff. I just grabbed some more clay because I have 2 more boards to make. And then I was trying to practice because, you know, a lot of times they'll have like buckles around them or little handles. And I thought, well, at least I'll make little handles. Okay, so that's worked enough. You don't have to work the air dry clay like you do the other clay, but you do need to work it. Now, I want to let you guys know, I am no expert on this, but I have done a lot of research, watching people, reading stuff, you know, that kind of stuff. So I tried to educate myself before I came on here and made a fool of myself. No. I just, you know, it's not anything that has to be perfect because it's supposed to look like a shipwreck. It's going to look like a shipwreck. There we go. Okay, so I'm wanting to get this a little thinner. I made the inside ones a little thicker so that I could kind of dig around in them a little bit more and really kind of roughen it up. But I'm making the top ones a little thinner just because I don't want it to be top heavy. I want it to kind of want to stand up on its own 2 feet kind of thing, so that when I do glue it and get it down in there that it's not going to have this opposing force going, oh no, I want to move. I want to play. So we don't allow playing. Okay, so I am just going to cut one of my ends off. So I start off with a straight end. The last two are approximately about a 1/2 inch long. The second one is going to be a little bit shorter than that, a little bit less width. So I'm just using my Timmy to get a 1/2 inch board. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this other one, and I'm going to just back off just a little bit because this is the one, well, no, I think I'll keep it at a 1/2 inch. This is the one that's going to finish off the top. So, I'm going to lay this aside because I don't know what else I'm going to want to do. Okay, so we take our slip. And I'm going to go ahead and wet this. This is, I did sand this paper very well. But it does not absorb quickly, so I am, you know, really trying to make it where, you know, it's getting absorbed in there. Plus, I want to wet the ends because I will be shaping the ends. So let's start off with a straight side here. And do one here. I need something that's going to hold this up. That's a little too tall. Of course! How about this? Okay, at least it's somewhat holding it up. Alright, so I'm leaving just about 1/8 of an inch off of the edge. You can certainly leave more and cut it off. Or, you know, maybe you want to use it. I'm trying not to make it too heavy. That's the only thing I'm focusing on. Okay, so the first thing I'm kind of doing is just patting it down, pushing it up against the other, because I did put slip on the top side of this, you know, board. And then I'm going to take and just kind of bend this around the edge and then kind of flatten it out. If I want to take some off, I certainly can. Got just a little bit too much there. And then just bring it around so that you're kind of getting a and you can manhandle this stuff pretty well, you know. It's very forgiving. Like I said, I'm no expert. I'm playing. I'm having a good time. And that's all that counts. Oops. That's all that counts. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just pulling this over. Let me get you closer here for a second. So I'm just pulling this around and pushing down into the slip so that it kind of melds as one. And then I'm pushing on the board, you know, the clay board itself to make sure that it's snug against the other one. And then I take, now this one makes, can you see that? Okay, this one makes just these very fine lines. I mean, I could push harder and stuff like that. So those are nice. This one pulls some of the clay out and roughens it up. So it looks like it's been soaking in water you know, for a long time. And I like that look. You can certainly do whatever you want to do. And then on the ends, I am taking, I'm trying to make sure I stay in. I'm taking my knife and I'm just kind of finding where the center is between the two boards. And then I'm just kind of on both sides making sure that I have a little roughed up area so it looks like two boards. And I've been doing the same thing over here. But then you lay it down. But I don't mind going back and doing it again because I think it gives it more and more and more and more character. You know? I do. I think it gives it more and more and more character. And I just keep making sure that I'm pinching that into that slip. So hopefully that it is all going to hold for me. Okay, now the last piece. We've got our straight edge. Well, that's almost going to be, let me get a little straight edge here. That's almost going to be not thick enough. I mean, wide enough, but we'll make it work. Okay. So, I'm just going to I'm going to cut this edge off. I just come up from underneath and I leave about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm going to lay it on this side, and I'm just going to, I do want to put a little more slip right on the edge there. Okay, so let's, okay. Sorry, I'm trying to keep you in focus, but there's like a 2-inch area that I can move you until I lose you. Okay, so then we're gonna kind of pull this around. Now you guys might have better tools for this. This is all I got. This and a pokey tool, and I used my ruler to flatten it. You know, when I wanted something kind of flat, to try that out. So yeah, we just gonna I just want to make sure that I have some coverage up at the top, and that's just way too much over here. Okay, and I can even just use my fingers as well. Now the one in the front, I mean the one in the front is much drier, and sometimes that does make it a little easier when you're pushing wetter stuff into drier stuff, you know, but I see where I'm probably going to have to add a little bit up here at the top. Try and get a little bit more off of, I guess that is the corner right there. Let's see, how does that look? Gotta roughen that up. Just gotta make sure you got enough clay in the spots so you can roughen it up. But remember, we're going to be painting this as well. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, guys, is just, you know, just making it look rough and worn, and of course all covered up. So there's just, I don't have to put it any closer, there's just a little knife edge kind of thing, and then I'm going to come in here and really kind of distress it. Gotta distress it. Okay, I'm going to put you back out. Voila! Okay, so I am going to let this completely dry. So tomorrow we will probably paint this. I do want to, since this is still kind of dry, I want to see if I'm going to be able to make it stick. So I'm putting some slip. I don't know why they call it slip. And there's my little keyhole. And I'm going to lay it down in that slip. There we go. So there's that. And then I wanted to put handles on both sides. So let's get this back. And let me just kind of pushing that down into that slip a little bit more. Okay, now for the handles, I've seen some pretty cool ones. And another thing I learned, you see how uniform this one is? There's not like a dip and a high and a low and a high and a low. I did it with one finger. Just like this. And then you get to the point where you can kind of, you know, just slide it along as you go and use another finger a little further down, that kind of thing. But that's how I got it to be, because when I did it the other way, the first time I tried it, and I'd started out with like 2 fingers. Oh, that one's horrible. You know, or 3 fingers, and just kind of keep rolling it. And feeling like, you know, I'm being even with all 3, but I could never get it to be as uniform. So watch me get a nice uniform one this time. It's not too bad. And you don't want to stretch when you're doing this. You don't want to stretch. You want to, you can like do a little deeper with the middle finger and then back off of that and do your index finger, and then do your middle finger and kind of work it out, you know, roll your fingers along it, and then, you know, and just keep working it that way. You don't want to stretch it. You just want to kind of maneuver, and you can put some force on it, but don't stretch it. You want it to roll out itself. And but this is what I get. And that's okay. I found that all I do is I just cut off what I don't like and go back to work. But yeah, I have found that it takes a lot longer to do it with one finger, or, you know, one finger at a time. I'm not saying that I only used my index finger. I also tried doing something like this, which wasn't too bad. But, you know, you're just going to have to play around with. I'd like it to be half this size, and that is what I'm trying to do, is get it down to a much thinner, because I want the handle to be like super huge to, okay, I flattened that one. So this is better. But I want to try and keep it even. It takes a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Really, 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 really does. Okay, so I've got like these little pieces like this, which I probably will use. Now it's not, that's how thick it is and that's how long it is, okay? Now I'm going to take a piece of this and I'm going to make a ring out of it. Somehow I got, on one of these pieces, I got a piece of hair. Imagine that. And I keep finding bits and pieces of it. Okay, so I've pulled this. I'm going to put some slip on the ends. Okay. So I ain't messing around with the slip. And then I want to kind of push this in to the clay on the end. That almost looks more like a stirrup than a... Okay, let's try and do this. Okay, so now we have a little circle. And then how about if this is full of slip now, so I can't do anything. Let me take a little piece of this. I'm going to roll it around in that slip. I'm going to run it through halfway. And then squeeze those ends together. How's that for one? And then we'll just take that, get a good bit of slip in there so it really is going to stick. And lay this down and flatten that in. Let me pull this around a little bit. There you go. Oh, sorry. I think that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's cool. There we go. So that's going to dry on there. And then we'll paint all of these all together. So let's see. I need to make my circle. Pinch them together. Okay. This one looks like it's already a little bigger. And I want it to be more round. Okay. I've got a little crack in this one and I'm not liking it, so I'm just going to move on. Alright, let's see. None of this is just what I'm looking for. So let me and sometimes it gets a little too dry and it's not easy to work with. It'll keep coming apart. So then you just need to wet your fingers and start rubbing again and it'll be fine. You don't need to over wet it. Okay, so right about there I think is good. So I pinched it together and then I'm just going to cut it off. And then I've got my piece here. I'm gonna, oops. Okay. I'm going to cut a little bit more of this. I'm going to flatten this down a little bit and cut a little bit more of it off. Okay, I need slip. And then I'm going to make this a little longer. Ah, come on up, come on up. Okay, that is going to need to have more on it. Okay. Not as pretty as the first one. Let me see size. Oh, way too big. Why didn't I just flip her around? Okay, let's pull this out. Make this considerably smaller. This is falling apart, so I think it does need a little bit of wetness. Okay, now I obviously needed a thicker one than I had, so let's try these two together. I think this is getting just a little too dry. I have been working in here for a while now. So let me get, oops, here it is. I'm going to just spray a little on my mat and wet my fingers. Let's just work this a little bit. It's tired. It wants to go to bed. I just have one more thing to do on here. I got the lock. It needs a little thing that looks like the part that clicks into the lock, but I'm not going to worry about, you know, that kind of detail. Okay, this needs to be a little thinner. Okay, oh, excuse me. Let's try this one out now. So we can get the handle look and then flatten that down. That's pretty good. It's a lot better size-wise than the first one I made. Okay, so we're gonna put, and I'm not being too sparing. I mean, I don't want it dripping off, but, and then I'm just pushing that down on there. I'm going to take some of it off because I just got way too much. All right. Okay. So there's the first one. There's the second one. It does stick out a lot more. Well, wait a minute. Oh, I don't want to put that down though. I gotta get some of that off of there. it's just too thick. That first one was just perfect, and this one I am just having a hard time with. Okay, so I'm going to use a piece of this. I'm going to try and save my little ring. I think this will be a much better thickness. Oh, but it's too dry. It's been a while. Let me just start with some not so dry clay. Let's pick up that one squirt of water should be enough to get this going nicely again. Yeah, once it starts to dry, you'll figure it out like I did. Okay. This is way too much. Here we go again. Sorry, guys. But anyway, so you've got the idea of that, and you've seen my my other stuff. So I am just going to say that's it for this video, and thanks for joining me. And next time we'll be putting all of the stuff in the box. And I know y'all don't want to miss that. So, if you have not subscribed to my channel, this is a shameless attempt to get you to subscribe to my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. And if you hit the little bell button, then when I put my videos out, I am going to try and put videos out the rest of the year, at least, every third or fourth day. It seems like the schedule that I can make. I would have had a video up on Tuesday, but Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, I had no internet service. I mean, I could send a text out occasionally, but other than that, I didn't have anything. My girlfriend said, I tried calling you all day, and it just wouldn't go through. She goes, I hate where you live. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it's a fair trade-off for 10 acres in privacy and lovely country of city state. Yeah, that's what they're called, aren't they? State of Kentucky. However, yes, I do know that okay, that's where I want it. And then I'm going to double check on size, because I know I keep going bigger and bigger. So needs to be about that big. And then I'm going to kind of twist and squeeze those little fellas together. Okay, and I kind of want to make them go long. Now, I will still try and get this down a little bit. Let me cut this off here. Yeah, I think this will work. And then I'm going to put this here. So I've got it through there, and I'm going to bring it up. I am going to cut off some of the twist. Let me get a little slip in there. Help keep it all together. And then I'm going to pinch these guys together, making sure that my twist stays in between them, because it keeps wanting to pop out. Okay. So that's not too bad. Let's try this again. Okay. Put that down. Squeeze a little bit. We'll cut some of this off. Squeeze. Squeeze in the center and then flatten it out. I'm just trying to give it a little bit more of a okay. This is one time that, you know, kind of wish I didn't have too many fingernails. So I'm going to actually cut that off and then try and round this top. Okay. I mean, just play with it until you guys are happy with what you've got. I mean, have you seen the price of miniatures? Holy Hannah. Yeah, I found, I think it was on Amazon, but I couldn't tell you for sure because it's been a while. That's when I decided I was going to use clay. Toss those because they're very dry and I ended up not using them. So it was like $20 for a miniature, and I don't think it was quite that large. I am so excited to see this in the box. Okay. I don't want to knock anything over so you guys can see with me. Ah, that is just so cool. So, yes, loving it. Loving it. So, we will be using the texture paste and getting all this, but first we got to paint everything, okay? And then, of course, we have, I think these are dry enough, we have a anchor that's going to be laying down, and then I figured I'd do something interesting, leaning the wheel against the box or whatever. But the big thing is the treasure that's going to be overflowing onto the area. Yes, I am very excited about this. It is so stinking cool, and thank you all so much for joining me. And until next time, just be kind. That's all you need to do. Be kind. Talk to you later. Bye.